What's going on, internet? It's the Masked Man here today, and I want to talk about Donald Trump. Now, about a week or so ago, as I'm recording this video, Donald Trump made a comment that he wants to ban all Muslims from entering the United States. And when Donald Trump said that, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh, so Donald doesn't really want to be president. I think this is I think that statement has been like a popular talking point for a lot of people that he didn't really want to become president. It was all a publicity stunt and he kind of got stuck, with it because he's been so successful and now he's doubling down after he lost his show and everything. But when he said I want to ban all Muslims from coming into the US, I was like, oh, Donald Trump really doesn't want to be president. And it looks like Donald is having a contest with himself to see what is the craziest thing he can say that's not going to hurt him when he leaves the political race. It's like, because Donald Trump is a very successful businessman and he's an intelligent guy. Whether you think he's evil or bigoted or not, he is a pretty intelligent guy in terms of business. But Donald Trump's success is not about building the best buildings. It's not about understanding the best locations. It's not that. What makes Donald Trump successful is the name. The name is what makes him successful. He's a brand name for real estate. He's a real estate brand name. So Donald Trump has a lot of leeway as a successful business owner. He has a lot more flexibility than the typical political candidate. But at the end of the day, when he leaves politics, he needs his name to be something that can still be bought and sold. He needs his name to still be somewhat marketable. So he can't say things that are outrageously racist. Like, I think D.L. Hughley said if Donald Trump said nigger, he would get elected as president. I don't know if he would or if he would not, but if he said nigger and didn't get elected president, that would be detrimental to the brand. Not because what black people will do to him, but because it'll make his brand less marketable. It'll hurt because you can't be openly racist in today's society. Open racism is a problem for white folks because white people don't want to be associated with an open racist. They don't want to be friends with an openly racist guy. They don't want to have their business connected to an openly racist guy because then you can point to a certain group and say, hey, they are racist. And that's the problem. The enemy of today, the enemy of black folks, don't want you to know who they are. They want to be in secret. They want to pretend like they don't exist. So if Donald Trump says nigger and then he's making all of these business deals, if he's opening up new golf courses, that makes the people who did the deals with him look bad because they are now tainted by association. So I just feel that Donald doesn't want to be president. He doesn't want the job. And now he's stuck because he's trying to say the right thing to get him out. Because practically it's the saying you want to ban all Muslims from coming into the United States is about the closest thing you could possibly say to racist without saying something something racist. Because I did a video called Racist versus Insulting, and I made a comparison that levying insults is not the same as being racist. But Islam or Muslims, that's not a race of people, that's a religion. But that's a religion that is associated with a certain race of people, people from the Middle East. And saying that you want to ban every Muslim from entering the United States is a policy. That would have to be a law on the books that restricts people who should have access from having access solely based on a factor, on one particular factor. That's blatant discrimination, and discriminating against a whole group of people under the guise of what some people have done or a few people have done. That's textbook discrimination. That's textbook racism. So that's the closest thing to just straight, like, the only reason that's not racist is because Islam isn't a race. But that's saying that if I become president, I intend to enact policies that are extremely race specific. I plan to discriminate against large groups of people with very minimal cause. Because you always hear about terrorist attacks. You always hear about that. But, and I haven't done the research. So anybody in the comment section, anybody who wants to let me know there will let me know, can let me know. How many attacks from Muslims have this country had before and after 9/11? How many? How many times has this country been attacked? How many bombings? How many shootings? How many times has this country been attacked by Muslims, by so-called terrorists? How many attacks by Al Qaeda? How many attacks by ISIL? How many times has this country had a terrorist attack before and after 9/11? So basically, in the entire history of America, the entire time, for 200 and however long, 240 years of America, how many attacks have the Middle East done against America? I don't know. But juxtapose that to how many mass shootings, how many homegrown terrorists this country has had. Donald Trump didn't say anything about what he wants to do about the terrorists that are in our own country. If somebody walks into an establishment that's supposed to be about learning and they kill several people, they're terrorists. They're terrorists. Now, I don't doubt that they have mental issues. I don't doubt that they have problems, but they are a terrorist because they have an agenda. Most of these people who walk into these schools, who shoot up people, the news, when they're promoting it, the information exists, but you got to dig. But the news, when they're promoting the story, they don't talk about why the person did what they did. They don't talk about the manifestos that these people wrote, the political agendas that these people had, the religious affiliations that those people had. A lot of those people who shut up those schools considered themselves Christian. Whether the Christian faith wants to claim them, they themselves considered themselves Christian. And they had certain beliefs that they were willing to kill and die to 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 propagate. So why isn't that a topic of discussion? And that is a far more real, far more relevant threat than ISIS or Muslims in general. I listened to the DL Hughley show the other day, and he gave a statistic that there was 350 mass shootings in the 336 days of the year. So at least one mass shooting for every day of the year. So at least one every day, and two on Sunday, and two on every other Sunday. So a whole lot of mass shootings are happening in this country, and nobody wants to deal with the underlying cause of that. But Donald Trump wants to deal with Muslims. How many times has this country been attacked by a terrorist in the past year, or last year, or the year before that? There are millions of people in this country that practice Islam. There are millions in the Nation of Islam, which a lot of people who are from the Muslim faith don't consider an actual part of Islam. And then you have other people in mosque or whatever. You have those people. You got the Nation, and then you got a lot of people who practice that religion in this country. If they wanted to do something, there's a lot that they can do. They don't need a nuclear weapon to cause havoc. There are enough of them present to do some harm, but they aren't doing anything. I'm not saying that though. I'm not saying that America needs to be naive and America needs to believe that everybody is friendly towards them, or that radical Muslims that want to do something to this country don't exist. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying be stupid. I'm not one of those people who say, they all good people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if Donald Trump was really about doing something serious and was really about affecting a positive change in this country, then he would be talking about real issues and not fears that people have, not boogeyman that the mainstream media has created. There may be hundreds of thwarted attacks to this country. There may be hundreds, there may be thousands of thwarted terrorist attacks. But it seems to me that the U.S. government, that the military, the NSA, the CIA, they pretty much got those people under control. They do a pretty good job, if that's even a real issue, if that's even a real problem. They do a pretty good job of keeping America safe. That's all right. I'm not saying don't worry about it, but that's not really a priority that needs to be talked about in a political campaign. unless you're trying to stir up controversy, unless you're trying to get people, whipped into a frenzy, that's not really necessary to be talked about. Now, I recognize that the Paris attacks just happened. I'm not ignorant of that. But that situation could be considered an isolated incident. You can consider that an isolated incident. Just something bad that happened that you need to have policies to deal with. And that whole thing became about immigration and Syrian refugees. So that's Syria and Syrian refugees. There are Christian Syrians. But they took the opportunity to say, let's ban everybody from Syria. So that's not even about. So they had an attack in Paris, and the United States government said, we're going to ban all Syrians. So that was a racist policy. In my state, in Louisiana, the governors or whatever in their political race was talking about, we want to ban Syrian refugees. So people will take the opportunity, any opportunity they can get, to do some racist shit and make it seem like there's a justification for it, because it's very easy to just do racist shit. But that's what I wanted to say about that. Donald Trump wanting to ban Muslims. I don't think that he actually wants to be president. I don't think that he can handle the job. I don't think that he's talking about anything substantive or anything important or anything relevant for the American people. He keeps talking about how he's going to make America great again, but he doesn't talk about specifically how he's going to make that happen. I don't think anybody's really demanding it. So let me know what you think in the comments. Leave it in the comments. Like the video, dislike the video, be honest. Subscribe to my channel. If you want me to talk about anything you see in the media, any story that you see, you can email me at Mr. Maskman's Business at gmail.com. I think I'm gonna try to see if I can, if the email the Mr. Maskman is available, just so everything's the same. But you can follow me on Twitter at the Mr. Maskman, Daily Motion at the Mr. Maskman, and Facebook at the Mr. Maskman. That is all I have to say about this subject, and I will see you in the next video.